Hello everyone. Recently, a lot of my friends approached to me saying they are either want to change their job or about to change their job and ask me how to improve their interview skill or negotiate their salaries. And they told me they've done a lot of research online and there are a lot of videos about how to improve your interview skills or how to negotiate the salaries. But none of them are the hiring managers or they've been standing from the hiring manager's point of view. Don't you think if you understand the hiring manager's point of view, you'll be much easier to be successful? So I think make a recording could probably help more people online here if you're in the same situation. Since I'm an executive in a tech company and I have no interest in becoming an internet celebrity, I don't want to show my face on camera. All I want to do is to help more people. So thank you for understanding. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Alex. I got my MBA degree from UC Berkeley and engineering degree from UCLA. I have over 10 years experience working in the Fortune 500 companies such as Facebook, Google in the management team. And I work with software engineering, hardware engineering, finance, product management, sales, business development, HR team every day. So I have to interview so many people every year for different departments. Meanwhile, I've been also a career coach for over 10 years to help people about their career planning, salary negotiation, mock interview, and resume building. I'm also the board advisor for many startup companies. We're about to begin. If you like my video, please click the subscription button below. Thank you again for watching. Let's start from the salary negotiation because that's the hottest topic people want me to talk about first. If you feel negotiating a salary is not something you like to do, you're at the right place because you're not alone. Many of us feel the same way. Even I do. From very early on, we are all taught that it's undesirable, dirty, or based on discussed matters of money. No one wants to cross as greedy, money-hungry person. Nobody wants. But at the same time, people need to be compensated that way to what they deserve. And in many cases, the only way to get what you deserve is through negotiation. Therefore, salary negotiation tactics are essential in any industry, whether you are trying to secure your next job or just get ahead of in your current career. Negotiation skills are invaluable. Even in MBA schools, there are several classes teaching you how to negotiate, including negotiating salaries. You need to understand all the tricks so that you could negotiate to the best number you could. You may hear that a recruiter may tell you that, oh, $5,000 is not really that much after tax per month. It's about like 200 something every month. So you shouldn't ask for that $5,000. He or she is absolutely correct from that point of view. But if you may still have a 30-year career, you'll be surprised how much difference it'll make in 10 years or in your whole career in 30 years. Because once your salary go up $5,000, no company will ever tell you says, come to work for me and I'll get $5,000 deduction. Nobody. It's always go up. So if your base is go $5,000 higher, your forever career is always going to be $5,000 higher. Now let's say if you negotiated $5,000 higher, we are talking about $5,000 to $10,000 every year in 30 years of compound. The total savings will be almost $238K for the 30 years gain. That's almost a condo in some cities, right? So that $5,000 could turn into $238K, right? That's why you want to negotiate. But don't fight this reason back to the recruiter if they told you, $5,000 is nothing, blah, blah, blah. Don't fight back. But you should know $5,000 matters of $238,000 in your mind. Even though we know in 30 years, $238,000 is a big number, but still negotiating a salary is uncomfortable. It's awkward and stressful. I get it. Many people would love to avoid it at all costs, even though it's a big number. However, they would be seriously missing out. The fact is, most negotiations are quick and painless, and in most cases, the employer is expecting it. In addition, negotiating your salary shows employers that you know how much you're worth and your confidence in your skills, and can bring that confidence to your job and improve their business. What if I tell you there's a way to keep both sides happy? Both the company, the hiring manager, the recruiter, and you, both sides are happy. But you still can negotiate as much as you could. So every year I help hundreds of people to negotiate, and all of them are finally in a happy situation, at least happier than what they did compared to what they did not negotiate. On both sides. Now let's get into the tactical for the salary negotiation. I know, going back to the employers who like to start interviews off by asking about your desired salary. It's essential to avoid this situation. It's best to avoid talking about money at all until you or your employer put forward a working offer. California recently passed a law. No recruiters can ask employees or interviewees how much money you are making today. You'll be surprised a lot of recruiters don't know. But that's a law, so they can't ask you how much you are making today. But instead, they could work around and ask you, what's your expectation? So you don't have to tell them how much money you're making today, but you could tell them how much money you expect to get if you want. Or you don't have to tell them anything. Here's an exception. If you know your salary is way higher than their range, then tell them a range. And don't tell them it's the exact number. The reason is, if their salary is way below your desired salary, then you don't have to waste your time to go to interview. That's the only exception you want to tell them a range. So when they ask you that question, don't answer it. Do some research and say, I'll get back to you. If you find the research, the average salary is way lower than yours, tell them a range. Otherwise, wait until you got an offer. Second, a great way to avoid, here's another reason you don't want to tell them first. In general, after interview, everyone will give you a grade, a number, how well you did for that. Sometimes, I have many cases support that, is you aced your interview and they want you so badly, and they want to change your job title and change your salary range for you. Okay? Another case is, if they give you an offer, they give you normally they give you average salary, so you will know what their range is. So wait until you got an offer. Don't negotiate your salary. Wait until you got an offer. But everyone's situation is different, right? So this is general rules. Be smart and know how to apply the rules to your personal situation. Second, you need to shift your thinking. Negotiating a salary is not as same as haggling with a vendor in a flea market. You don't bargain like you do in the flea market. In fact, your employer expects you to negotiate to some degree. For example, Salary.com surveyed 1,000 employers, and 73% of them said they expect new hires to negotiate salary. So why not give it a try? But the key here is to negotiate to a certain degree. You have to know where the boundary is. Otherwise, it'll turn to an ugly fight. And you don't want to do that. Okay? And whether you feel insecure in your job or you just wish to avoid the discomfort of discussing money with current or potential employer, you're going to miss a lot unless you shift your thinking and start looking at the salary negotiation as a legitimate way to increase your wealth and get what you deserve. In addition, company put a way that you negotiate with HR. Actually, the salary decided by both HR and your hiring manager. It's designed that way you don't negotiate with your hiring manager in case something happens. It will not ruin your relationship with your hiring manager and you. So make sure you negotiate the salary. Third, the research is the key. So there is a terminology in MBA called from the company and the position you're talking about. If you get familiar with yourself with both the company's overall compensation structure as well as the salary of previous person who held the position, including perks like bonus and stock incentives or other incentives or signing bonus. The reason research is so crucial is because you need to have a solid foundation on which to base your negotiation. For instance, if you're arguing that you deserve more money, then it will help you to know what other people are doing the same job and why you are getting the same deserve more money. If you just negotiate says I need more money, trust me, there's no one or no company will give you the money. You have to provide a valid reason. That's what's called best alternative to a negotiated agreement. You need to be prepared. If you negotiate, you have the best alternatives, including walking away from the table. But there is a lot of tactics. You don't have to walk away from the table. You could ask them the range, or if you could test water to talk to them like asking questions, so it will not turn into a bad situation like walking away from the table. For example, you need to at least research for 3 things. First, understand what's the average online. There are several websites show you the number. For example, Glassdoor. The problem about Glassdoor is give you average. The con is it's average number. If you're in a relatively higher expense cities such as Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, New York, the number will be much lower than what you deserve or you expect to get. So you can do some other like for example, Indeed sometimes shows a number for this job. H1B shows all the people apply to H1B with the same salary, how much they're getting. You can search the H1B salary number, that's public. You can also search PESA blind. There's many companies like that to show you what package they're getting on. I am also going to post some of people I know, get their agreement and post their numbers just for a reference later. So just watch on my channel and I will post that later. Fourth, get personal. You may not think how your personality may affect a successful salary negotiation. But according to the Harvard Business Administration professor Deepak, it could make a huge difference. Current or prospective employers are much more likely to grant your request if they like you. In fact, the less likable you are during the negotiation, the less likely you are going to get what you want. So here's some tips. Always be polite. Manage the pressure of negotiation well. Right? So as I mentioned a lot of examples above, you always be polite and always ask what they could get. And always tell them a reason, an honest reason why you need that money. You never go back and say, I need more money. That's ugly. That will turn you into greedy personality. But if there's a reason, it's like money is on the table, right? It's not greedy, it's human. Everyone, if the money is on the table, everyone's going to grab it, right? So you have to manage the pressure of the negotiation well. You have to turn the conversation into a pleasant conversation, not an ugly conversation, right? And third, of course, don't be greedy, right? Unless you have we talked about it, unless you have a very good partner and you are ready to walk away. Otherwise, don't negotiate to the last dollar or last penny. Get a reasonable number and take the offer, right? And be persistent but not annoying, right? Be persistent means keep asking, keep negotiating. But not annoying means, as we talked about earlier, if people tells you that's the best number I can do, that's the best number I can do, don't try a third time because that's the best number they can do. Okay? Don't be greedy, don't be annoying, just take the offer or walk away. Okay? And there are always something that you forget about, your worth or your confidence, right? So for example, if you negotiate with the employer, make sure you list things like your accomplishment, your experience, your qualification, and other factors for them to negotiate for you. Because they have their bosses too. They have to convince their boss. If you could list things like that for them, it's easier for them to copy and paste and convince their bosses. Okay? And like your degree, what are you so like I have one case. There's a person, she is about to get her master degree. It's 3 months away. But she can't claim she has a master degree right now. So they are giving her a bachelor degree salary. And she negotiated, says, in 3 months, I'm going to be a master degree. And I think you should give me a master degree salary. So she negotiated. And they did give to her. Because they know it's a reasonable reason, right? So, but they will not think for you. Oh, you're about to graduate in 3 months for your master degree. Let me add it for you. Come on. It's your salary. You need to remind them what's your accomplishment, what's your experience, what's your degree, how you want to negotiate. That's the whole thing you need to focus on. Okay? Or give the specific example how important you can help the business. Then they probably, or you haven't discussed with them, or they've never thought of. Tell them how much value you can bring in. But don't repeat the reasons. Oh, I can help you, blah, blah, blah. And don't give like a vague statement that says, oh, I can help the company. Be specific. I can help the company to negotiate. In my past experience, I helped company negotiate millions of dollars of contracts. I'm sure I can come here to help you negotiate a salary on the millions of dollars, and I think I'm worth that $10,000 pay increase. That's the specific reason you should give it up. Not just, I can help the company. That's not the good reason. And next is negotiate at least one time, one counter offer. As we talked earlier, you don't want to be greedy, you don't want to be annoying to ask again and again, but at least you should ask one time, right? Based on your research number and the number they give to you. It's much easier to find a middle number, and that's not going to be hard to do, right? That's not a greedy hard to do. So try one time, see what number they could get closer to your number. Then you can decide if you want to negotiate the second time. But remember, don't negotiate too many times. And a lot of things just take practicing. Negotiation is also practicing. List all the possibilities in your mind, or write it down before the negotiation. Because that way you will know in your brain, if someone says something immediately, you know how to respond. Not to, like someone says something, you start to think what I want. That's bad for negotiation. So you should keep practicing what you wanted. Write it down, right? Write down all the scenarios. And everyone's situation is different. Remember, you know your situation the best. So you can't, there's no general rules apply 100% to everyone. You have to learn the knowledge I just told you, the tactical I told you today, apply to your personal situation. So feel free to leave me a comment for your questions, and I can help you answer. Let's say you got an offer from the recruiter, and they offer you $50K. Now you need to negotiate. You can't just give out, just asking, saying, I need more money, this number is too low. This is totally bad negotiation. The good negotiation is you always have to give a reason. For example, you have a counter offer. I got another offer from another employer for similar job, similar industry. They offer me $80K. Either you match or walk away. That's a very strong partner. That means you have a strong alternative backup, and you can easily walk away. Let's say that job offer you didn't like that much, you like this company better. That's a best way for you to tell them, say, hey, I like you guys better, but that guy offered me $80K. Can you please match it? That means you have a little bit weaker banner because you want to work for this company, but you don't want to take the other offer. So you have to be a little bit weaker on the negotiation. You ask them to a match, right? If you have a same off, like you feel like you don't mind to go into either this company or the other company, just be very straightforward. Says either you can beat that offer, or if you cannot beat that offer, I'm not coming to, I'm gonna take the other offer. The third case is a weaker case is you don't have a counter offer. That means you have to do a research online, see how much is average for this job. If you did a research, let's say average is 70K for this job, it's a strong argument or strong case for you to challenge them. Say, hey, you know, I did research online. It's about 70K for this job. I'm wondering if you can do a match on that. I'm sure they're gonna give you a lot of reason to say why it's not. It's okay. Just tell them, say, what's the best number you could get. That's called negotiation, because you are saying average in your company is 70K and you're giving me a 50K, you're lowballing me, right? And ask them what's the range for your company for this position. And I'm sure he's not going to tell you, or he or she is not going to tell you the final number. But he might say, probably the best I can do to give to you is 60K. At least you get a $10,000, higher, right? Easily, just by asking. And depends on how much you want this job, and depends on the HR's tone. You can further test, says, hey, it's still a $10,000 difference. Is there anything else you can make it up? Stock, sign-on bonus, other incentives, right? And if they can't give you anything about it, then just say, hey, let's meet in the middle, right? 65K. I think that might be a good, ending. If they still insist, a lot of time they will meet in the middle for you, or they will counter offer again. Let's say the best he can do is 62.5 or something. Take it. In general, you don't negotiate more than 3 times, going back and forth 3 times. In general, you don't. Or if he says, sorry, 60K is the best I can do, I can't do anything about it, you got a signal. If you really want the job, you should take it, because you don't have a strong partner. Okay? Why you don't have a strong partner? Let's say we had a counter offer, at that time. Basically, you just say, do it or not. I'm gonna walk away from the table. And when you walk away from the table, don't go back unless they call you. Okay? Don't call back. So you have to know the risk and the result you may face. Otherwise, you may turn yourself into a bad situation. That means it depends on what your partner. If you have a strong partner and you don't care to walk away, negotiate as hard as you can, as close to the number you want as you can. Well, you don't have to have a good partner. You don't want to negotiate to the every cent, every dollar you could. Take a reasonable number and take the offer. That's why a lot of people, when they apply for a job or change the job, they don't apply for one company. It's not like they want to work for other companies. They want to have more partner to negotiate. Even you have a job right now. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine, he likes his job. He is good for what he's doing. But he's not happy that every year he is only getting 3% or 2%, increase by just cancel out the inflation, right? And the boss never gave him a raise for like 4 or 5 years. And here's the advice I give to him. I say, go apply for some jobs and see if you like it. If you don't like it, that's fine. Use that as your banner to negotiate with your current employer. So he did. He's like, oh, it's a lot of work, blah, blah, blah. I said, do you want to get your salary increase? because we're talking about putting several hours or some time in and getting 20% of your raise every year. One-time thing for 20% increase every year. Do you want to do that? You're like, oh, well, I'll try. So he applied to companies, and both of them gave him an offer. One give him 25% increase. The other one give him 35% increase. Used my tactical earlier, I talked about. And he brought up to his manager, says, hey, I really want to work for you. But, someone, came to me. You don't have to tell your boss the truth, right? He says, some recruiter came to me and says, give me offer about this range. Is that something you can do? And his or her boss is not like don't want to help him or her, right? He or she has to give his or her boss a reason why to give you a raise, or to give to HR why you have to give you a raise, or to give to company why to give you a raise. And he liked the employee a lot as well. So he went to his boss and saying, hey, either we have to give this guy an offer, like a match, or he's leaving. And he's valuable to the company. So the company immediately gave him a 30% raise. Guess what? If you never try, you will never get that 30% raise. And he regretted. He said, Alex, I should have talked to you a few years ago. So at least I can get this 30% for this a few years. He said, I really appreciate that. And guess what? His manager really appreciated his honesty and told him, says, I really appreciate you told me that. So I can fight for the increased pay raise for you. Probably nobody will tell you that on the internet, because this is how it works for office politics. And this is the process for the office. And if you don't know the rule, then you don't get a raise, right? But, of course, there's always a risk. The risk is, what if your boss didn't say, sorry, I can't do anything about it? Then you probably should think if this is a company you should work for, or you probably should work for another company. Right? 30% raise is a lot. Right? Or what if you went to interview and people want to give you 5% raise? Or 10% raise? Well, it depends on you. For me, 5% raise probably wouldn't let me to move unless there's a strategic reason. But just money-wise, 5% doesn't worth it. Because going to a new company, you have to get a new boss, new environment, new coworkers. You never know what kind of situation that is. But at least you test water to know what's your value. You know your value on the market is par to what you have today. Right? But what if someone give you a higher offer? You're like getting money for free, right? Just putting some time, right? In summary, you don't want to discuss the money until you have an offer. And you negotiate in a professional manner, be polite, and you don't annoy people. And you do enough research to understand your banner so you can estimate what your best offer is. And then you know how to negotiate. And if you know that your negotiation boundary and you don't want to be greedy or annoyed, to understand how hard you want to negotiate. You also want to show the employer or remind them why do they pay you more in details, and tell them your accomplishment instead of just tell them pay me more. And try to at least negotiate one time, and don't let the money sit on the table. You should take it. And you should keep practicing all the scenarios that may happen, so your brain will not be like surprised when you negotiate. And make sure you personalize these learnings to your personal situation, because everyone's very different. You know yourself the best. And if you like the video, please click the subscription button below. Thank you for watching.